Hi everyone, welcome to our latest video. Really pleased to be able to show you today this absolutely gorgeous Ducati 848 Evo. Now this particular bike is a 2012 12 plate and she's covered just 1100 miles from new. Yep, that's right, just over 1000 miles. Now this bike's actually known to us. It was previously sold by ourselves 2 years ago to our valued customer Alex, and at the time it had only done 600 miles back then. Alex has only managed 500 miles over the last 2 years, and we're really pleased to have this bike back in stock because it's, in our opinion, probably the best one in the country. Absolutely immaculate. You will notice that we've actually fitted some brand new Bridgestone S20 Evo tyres to the bike as well, and she's up to date with her cam belt chains, having been done just a couple of weeks ago. So a ready to roll Ducati 848 Evo with just 1100 miles and a full service history. So we're going to take you around the bike. We're going to start with the right hand side of the bike, move on to the left, and then finish up with our usual cold start, and hopefully that will give you all the information you need to see what a beautiful machine this is. We'll be back shortly. Okay, here we are on the right hand side of the bike, and arguably this is the most attractive side of the bike as it benefits from this gorgeous open rear wheel assembly on the classic Ducati single-sided swing arm. But quite frankly, she's a beautiful bike from any angle, left, right, front or back, and hopefully we'll show you that in due course. Now, as I say, having covered just 1100 miles, she's very much in the condition that one would expect of such a low mileage bike, and hopefully this video will give us an opportunity to do some close-ups. This beautiful matte black paintwork. We actually give the matte black just a very gentle sheen using muck off silicone shine. You don't want to say that after too many beers, but it just gives that matte just a very gentle sheen, but it also just gives a thin layer of silicone for any flies etc. to sit on. Makes it much easier to clean them off afterwards. And as you can hopefully see from these close-ups, there's not even a hint of a stone chip on the nose cone or the leading edges here of the front fender. Even the trim directly behind the front wheel, again, even that's free of any stone chips or blemishes, as is, all importantly, the oil cooler. Again, we can't really get much closer than that other than seeing the bike in the flesh, but the leading edges of this right hand fairing, again totally free of any chips or marks or scuff. Mirrors all intact. No marks on the tank from leathers or any rubbing. It's just an absolutely stunning, I would go as far as to say almost pristine 848 Evo. So she's a completely standard bike, still with the standard factory exhausts, other than, which you may have noticed, this smoked Ducati Performance front screen. Probably the first thing that most people change on a sports bike nowadays is the screen, just to give you a bit of extra wind protection. But whilst we'll use this video as an opportunity to do some close-ups, for those of you that don't know quite so much about Ducatis, we'll take you through some of the tech specs as well. And with all motorcycles, the beating heart is of course the engine, and this particular bike has an 849cc Testa Stretta liquid cooled V-twin. Some call it an L-twin because of the manner in which the front cylinder faces forward and the rear cylinder faces upwards. And depending on which review you read, certainly the MCN review gives the 848 Evo a 5-star review. and that's putting out about 140 brake horsepower at the crank. And I think MCN tested it at 126 brake horsepower at the rear wheel. But it's not just about brake horsepower figure, of course, with a twin, because these pump out a very healthy dollop of torque, and in contrast to some of the latest 200 brake horsepower behemoth sports bikes or super bikes, this is a relatively usable 140 brake horsepower in a chassis and suspension package which can only be described as sublime. So we've got the 140 bhp liquid cooled V-twin to help us go, and if we show you the front end here, obviously we need something to slow down that potent acceleration. And on the Evo we've got the same Brembo monoblock radial mounted brake calipers as is found on the Ducati 1198R, and again they've been described as phenomenal. Quite frankly, if you need better braking than that, then you ought to be lined up on the BSB grid, because they really are, I mean, they're enough to send you over the handlebars if you're not careful. And while we're showing you at the front end, you can see that's the freshly fitted Bridgestone S20 Evo. So we've got a potent motor, equally potent brakes, and just to add into the mix, some really nice super grippy S20s as well. These are a great all-round tyre. They will cater for 99% of riders. However quick you are, they'll look after you on a track day. They've got good wear characteristics. They've got a nice tread pattern. You would have to be some rider to outride the capabilities of an S20 Evo. At the back, again, we've got the S20 Evo, brand new. As you can see, we've still got the stripes and the writing. And at the back, braking's taken care of with a single sort of inside brake disc. Terminology escapes me as we speak, but with a single Brembo caliper at the bottom. And it's just an opportunity as I turn the wheel just to show you completely unmarked and unblemished rear wheel. No chips or scratches or scuffs. And we can go up towards the tailpiece. It's such a beautiful work of art, this bike, but what a lovely rear end. Again, there's no scuffs or marks, which are so commonly found on sports bikes, with people catching their boots on the tail unit when they get on and off. And you can see those standard twin exhausts there. Even from the underside, you can see how clean they are. This bike's not done enough miles to coat the underside of the exhaust with chain grease or tar from the road. Suspension is taken care of by Showa, and you'll see we've got upside down Showa forks which are fully adjustable. And again, with this bike having covered so few miles, these have been left completely untouched, so she's still wearing the factory settings. You can usually tell whether these have been changed with the remnants of a socket being used, but these are completely unmarked. And of course we'll have a closer look on the left hand side of the bike, but you can just make out there the beautifully clean rear spring assembly. And the piggyback reservoir there for the Showa fully adjustable rear shock. But as I say, we'll show you that as we go around to the left hand side of the bike. So there you go, that's the right hand side of the bike, and we'll be back shortly with the left side, followed by the cold start. See you shortly. Welcome back guys, and here we are on the left hand side of the bike, and I've changed my mind. It's no less beautiful on the left hand side than the right, because ultimately this is where all the drive is put through to the rear wheel, as you can see with the chain and sprocket assembly there. Another good look at that brand new Bridgestone S20 Evo, and an opportunity just to show you just how clean she is. There's that Showa fully adjustable rear shock, and you can see from both the exhaust manifold studs and the paint on the gearbox casing there, something that those of you that are familiar with Ducatis will know, that the paint on the engine and gearbox casings can be prone to flaking if not looked after. And I think it's safe to say that with just over 1,000 miles that there's no danger of that happening on this bike. You can see we've got an Optimate charging point here as well, so battery situated just behind the left hand fairing there, compared to most Jap bikes where they're underneath the rear seat, or underneath the rider's seat should I say. Just a few scuff marks on the heel plate here on the left hand side, obviously caused by a boot, but ultimately that's doing its job. It's there to stop your boots scuffing the swing arm, and as you can see the swing arm is blemish free. And again, we can just spin that rear wheel and show you on the inside of the rim, absolutely perfect. Even the rear disc, look, there's not even any brake dust residue on the inside there. This is as good as it gets, guys. So this left hand fairing, again some close-ups. This area right down the bottom, which so often gets peppered with stone chips, not just on Ducatis but all bikes, as you can see there's not even the sign of any stone chips on that leading edge, or indeed anywhere else. And I just love the sort of barely visible 848 Evo graphics there, just really subtle against the paintwork. It's a real sort of mean and moody looking bike. Again, there's that Showa front suspension and Brembo brakes. And again, if we look at even the close-ups on the bobbins on the discs, no corrosion, no build-up of brake dust, and an unblemished wheel rim. Not sure if you can see in there, but the radiator again, no indentations from stones, and maybe the odd tiny fly, but we'll leave those there for the new owner. Beautifully sculptured fuel tank. Only Ducati know how to make a fuel tank this shape. And if we're being really fussy, possibly the only mark on the bike worthy of any note is one tiny little mark here, which I'm guessing is caused by a zip or something like that. Ironically, it's just north of the tank protector, which possibly could have been fitted when new, and possibly could have been fitted a little bit further up, and that may not have happened. But so if that's the only thing we can criticise this bike for, then I think she'll soon match most people's expectations. Okay, so that's the left hand side of the bike. Hope this has given you a really good idea of what a clean machine she is, and we'll be back shortly with the cold start. Okay guys, here we are, just about to carry out the cold start. You'll see that this particular bike is fitted with an alarm. Now this is a meter alarm, or meta, and of course we've got 2 keys, 2 alarm fobs, and the all-important Ducati code card. So we first turn the ignition on and unlock the immobiliser by pressing the button on the alarm fob. Watch the ignition go through its self-check, and you can just make out there that mileage is 1150. You can see the ambient temperature is fluctuating there between 24 and 25 degrees. That's very pleasant out here today, and the engine temperature is low as it's completely cold. So we just thumb the starter, and she should burst into life after a couple of revolutions. There you go, that's what a standard 848 Evo sounds like. So we'll just give the throttle a blip so you can hear the exhaust. Wonderful sound. Unmistakable Ducati V-twin sound. Definitely hear how much more cleanly and crisply an 848 Evo spins up from its predecessor. Love that instrument panel as well. Very crisp, very clear, very easy to read. Gives you everything you need, not too cluttered at all. So there you have it. That's our cold start, and we'll see you back here shortly for the summary. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video of our Ducati 848 Evo. Just to summarise, this beautiful machine is a 2012 12 plate. She's covered just 1100 miles from new, 2 previous keepers, sold by us before. We know the bike, she's absolutely beautiful. Just had a new set of cam belts and a brand new pair of S20 Evo Bridgestones. Got a full service history stamped in the book, and this bike is available at 8495. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you for the next one.